everyone, greetings from National Skills Network. This is Madhuri and I'm back with another interesting and insightful presentation. This time I'm going to touch upon the topic of graduate employability, skills and education. But before I go ahead, I have a request. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do so immediately and hit the bell icon so that you don't miss any update from us. And I really look forward to having you as my audience for all my presentations, and do share your comments and questions so that we go ahead and make these presentations and discussions really useful for the larger audience in India and in other countries as well. So coming back to skills, education and graduate employability, I have a question. What if I tell you skills and knowledge are two sides of the same coin, and together they become education? Maybe some of you agree and some of you don't agree, but I don't see these two as binaries. I see both of them interconnected and contributing to each other. Often we hear about skills versus degrees kind of a discussion, right? As if skills and degrees are not going together, or they are two very different things. And this is because of the practice that we have had for a very long time, where we associated a degree with a very pure academic kind of learning, even in cases of professional courses. Like engineering and management and others, and skills were very limited. The notion of skills and the perception was very limited to very hands-on kind of work, entry-level jobs and all. But today, especially with NEP 2020, we are trying to bridge this gap, and we are trying to have a highly higher education, highly qualified programs which have skills built into them or integrated into them. And that is the reason we have something like apprenticeship embedded degree programs, or BWork kind of degree programs. So all these are actually contributing to graduate employability. And this is also because my firm belief in skills and knowledge being two sides of the same coin. Why is it so? Because I feel just with theoretical knowledge, whatever kind of degrees one acquires or goes into higher education, the question of graduate employability will always come back, and the kind of percentage of graduates who get into jobs will always be less if we are trying to keep them very as two separate, or two silos or two separate entities. Because the fact is today, especially in today's world, where we are talking about a lot of technology disruption and the jobs changing, and many other things happening in the job market, the notion of holistic learning has to have the skill component or the applied learning component, or anything which is work integrated, because this is where it is helpful for our students to get into the job market and kind of fit into the job market in various roles. Now for this, I have this interesting example which I picked up. So as you can see here, I've taken few points from Aristotle, the Greek philosopher, and Mahatma Gandhi. So the whole idea of learning as being a combination of something that is theoretical and practical has existed since long ago. Like it's been something which is always seen as a whole. It's only that maybe a few years ago or a few decades ago that we started separating these two and bifurcating these two, and trying to look at skills as something which is very non-intellectual and something that is kind of a low-level thing. But when you look at these two people and what they say and what their philosophy is, I think today it makes perfect sense when we are talking about graduate employability. Aristotle, for example, talks about episteme, techne, and phronesis. Episteme is basically theoretical learning, theoretical knowledge. Techne is the know-how or the practical part of learning, and phronesis is the know why, or the kind of reasoning or the wisdom that we have, with learning. So all these three kind of make it holistic. And on the other hand, we have Mahatma Gandhi, whose philosophy about craft centric education, which was discussed in Nai Talim, is something we are all very familiar with. And this also has a very theory plus practice kind of an orientation, but the approach is slightly different. So both of them are not saying that, skills are non-intellectual, but they are connecting skills, or they are connecting the applied learning part into the holistic idea of learning. Right? So I feel we need to borrow ideas from them and start applying to the way we are perceiving graduate employability today. Now, let me go slightly deeper into the issues that are involved in graduate employability. First and most important is the orientation towards academic learning, which has existed for a very long time. And today it is so difficult for us to convince people that academic learning alone is not enough, or getting marks, or passing in exams with good marks and all is just not enough. The degree is, not something that is really going to get a job, right? We all know this, but I feel somewhere we are not able to accept this. So we have to gradually move towards accepting the fact that it's not just what you acquired as knowledge, but it's like what you can do there. It's like, okay, so you have done all these courses, okay, you know about gravity theoretically. Now apply gravity to solve a problem, or look at what are the applications of gravity. Correct. So this is the kind of orientation we need going forward. And knowledge acquisition, as I just said, again, academic learning, knowledge acquisition, these are kind of overrated, have been overrated for a long time. But I am not saying that they are not needed. They are definitely needed, but they need to be balanced with the real life scenarios, the real world, the real job market. That is where applied learning comes into the picture. You call it experiential learning, you call it immersive learning, role-based learning, real-life learning, or workplace learning. You call it by any name. But the notion of applied learning is something that we have to kind of gradually accept and make it a part of our higher education, because this is the only way our graduates are going to get into the relevant jobs and fit into the job market. So in other words, they get ready for the job market, which is such a dynamic thing, right? So jobs are not like something that existed till last year. Okay, next year also is going to be the same. We know the reality. We know how jobs are changing. And then finally, the youth aspirations. We all know that, the Gen Z, or the generations who are coming after them, these are all very young people, and the way they look at education, learning, their lifestyle, all these are very, very different from, let's say, the generations before them. Uh, so how do we account for this? So their notion of a job may not be like what we all grew up with, may not be the kind of job we have done for years together, or their notion of a secure life may not be like us. So the education has to look into all these things and prepare them accordingly. Now let me also take you through the kind of a graduate employability roadmap in today's scenario. What is most important is, to start with, we need a lot of industry academia partnerships, where the academia and the industry come together and try to understand, and there are synergies which contribute to industry readiness through curriculum, through assessments, through practical training, to faculty development, and so many other things. And this, I am saying, it should be irrespective of engineering or management or any of these disciplines. This is applicable to humanities, this is applicable to commerce, this is applicable to subjects like history, political science, psychology, English literature, liberal arts. You can look at industry academia partnership in any subject. If you need to know more, if you're interested to know more, please reach out to me. I'll be very happy to tell you more. The second important point is continuous skill development. It's not like I learn few skills, in a short-term training, and then I get a certificate and I go and tell everyone, hey, look, I've acquired these skills. Skill is not something which is relevant or valid forever. It keeps changing. So it has to be a continuous process. And we need flexible learning models, which is actually happening at the graduation level, at the UG level also with NEP 2020. We are talking about work integrated apprenticeship embedded courses where multiple entry exit or doing blended learning or enrolling in two programs simultaneously. And then also the credit system, which is going to make it more adaptable and flexible. All these changes are gradually happening in our country, which is a very good sign. And finally, the job market readiness is what really matters. Because when we talk about graduate employability, we can't keep this out of focus, right? So this has to be drilled down further, and it has to be like a very nuanced kind of a understanding of the job market, which also the faculty, the placement officers, or whoever is involved with teaching at the higher education level, all of them should be aware of it. I would say even parents should be aware of it, because parents play such an important role. Now, I'll just take you through some supporting numbers, and figures. I'm just referring to the recent economic survey where we are talking about the mismatch between academic qualifications and job market demands. So this has resulted, I believe, to something like 53% of graduates being underemployed. Please remember, underemployment is even more dangerous because it leads to a lot of frustration and lack of satisfaction, where highly qualified graduates take up jobs which are not meant for their level. Uh, this could be because they need a source of livelihood, but sadly, this shows that there is a lot of mismatch. Now, another important point is 8.25% of graduates, are in jobs which correspond to their qualification. Now, look at this. So, what happens to the rest? So the rest are all graduates whose qualifications have nothing to do with the kind of jobs they are seeking. Absolute mismatch. So realistically, all these cannot be resolved in 1 year or 2 years. But I feel we should take a positive step right away. Now, why is this mismatch happening? I think we are also familiar. We all know the reasons. But just to reiterate, this is because of the mismatch of the as I just said, the labor market awareness, the inefficiencies, and between the supply and demand of skills, or the supply side, which is the academic and the training institutions doing something, and the demand, which is created by the industry, is asking something. So the difference between the ask and the difference between what I'm providing, this is creating this kind of a mismatch. And also there is a misalignment of competencies. So this is something like, the skills, the knowledge, and the kind of aptitude and all these which the student should have does not really match what is asked for in the job role. Then let me also quote something from the PLFS here, the recent PLFS. The survey talked about, these are some very interesting figures again. The report actually said that 4.2% of the workforce who have specialized skills earn between 4 lakh to 8 lakh annually. Now look at this. Only those percentage of students or graduates who have specialized skills. So specialized skills could be job-oriented skills. There could be skills which are directly related to a particular job role, whereas others who don't have this kind of skills or who are semi-skilled, they earn less than 1 lakh. So less than 1 lakh annually. So the disparity is so huge. And the breakup is also given here. Like, see, the graduate degree is only 7.6%, and the postgraduate is only 2.2%. And the skill level, specialized skills is 9.3, and highly competent skills is only 2.5. So this is the kind of share of workers we have. So you see, what is this pointing out? This is pointing out to the fact that the lack of skills, the lack of relevant skills is creating an issue in the job market, and there is evidence to show that. Now, one more important aspect of employability is again, how is the tech savvy or the technical technically skilled graduates faring in the job market vis-a-vis others. So today, as we know, there's a lot of focus on Gen AI or AI. So artificial intelligence is something that I think is not only the buzzword, but that is something I think we all have to take it as a necessary thing. Just like how maybe 25 or 30 years ago we were trying to learn what is internet all about, or what is this entire connectivity all about, what is online life all about. So I think today everybody has to have those skills and learn about artificial intelligence whenever it is required for jobs. So as per these statistics from Mercer Metal India Graduate Skills Index, again, there is a slight decrease in graduate employability last year to 42.6% vis-a-vis the previous year where it was 44.3%. And this is because of the non-technical roles where they could not fit into the non-technical roles. Whereas in the technical roles where, they had skills like AI, machine learning, etc., there was a significant increase when they demonstrated these proficiencies. So this is another important piece of information that supports the fact that graduate employability has to be linked with skills to make it holistic. Now, for me, to summarize the entire discussion here, what is most important is industry relevance. So, whenever we are talking about putting somebody to work, so there are two schools of thought here again. There are a lot of people who think that academic learning is something really valuable. But even after not finding a job, even after doing, let's say, even a doctorate, people don't realize that it's not just academic learning, or, going after one degree, after another degree. So it becomes something like learning for the sake of learning. But in today's world, as we are seeing a lot of changes, industry relevance is definitely needed. Not because we want everybody to become something like an entry level skilled person. It's not that. It is more about what is the kind of jobs that are available, so that we get the information from the industry and kind of have few courses, may not be the whole curriculum, have few courses which are aligned with those job roles. So it will help a lot of students to get employed. We just saw the numbers, right? Now, NSQF alignment is important. Apprenticeship embedded degree programs are coming up in many institutions. Then credit framework is also something that is going to add to all this. There's academic bank of credits, and then there are schemes like NAPS, which is National Apprenticeship Promotion Scheme, and the latest, that is PM's internship scheme. I think all these are pointing out at uh, a very positive change that is going to happen in the coming years, where the gap between employment and education will reduce. So one of the important developments in recent months was UGC releasing guidelines for short-term skill development courses. Since it's coming from UGC, it means that a lot of colleges, universities can design and offer these courses, or make them available for the students either through online, or have them, in their own institutions. So these guidelines are available on the UGC website. In case you are interested, you can always go and check those guidelines. And also, if you need more information, you could go back and forth on our YouTube channel. I have done quite a few webinars and presentations like NEP, or the credit framework, or the role of NCVET, or even about introducing skills at the college level. So all these are available on our YouTube channel. So in case you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do it right away, so that you don't miss any update from from us. And I really hope this presentation was useful. So before I close, let me just give you the big picture of what it means to integrate skills with education. It means that we are catering to the students' requirements and the aspirational kind of jobs that they want to get in, and somewhere down the line we are trying to address all those small gaps that are there and prepare them to for the future of work, or as we say, prepare them with future skills which are not just technical, they could be non-technical as well, what we call as transferable or soft skills. And as we know, in India, it is not a very simple kind of a lay of the land when we are talking about jobs. We have informal sector, we have unorganized economy, we have a lot of local trades, crafts, cultural diversity. The industrialization also is very diverse, and of course the youth aspirations keep changing. So how do we address all this? So we can only address this by taking conscious decisions and revising the curriculum and including a job-oriented or applied learning kind of courses, so that these students are able to participate in the society, have a successful career, and be ready for the labor market with the kind of holistic personal development and learning, as I just told you, giving examples from Aristotle and Mahatma Gandhi. They also need career counseling, and probably, who knows, some of them would also want to become entrepreneurs. So you see, there is so much of scope, there is so much of positiveness around us. Let's encash it and do something good for our students who are all entering the job market after their UG and PG programs. So thank you so much for watching this presentation. I really hope you found it useful. And in case you have found it useful, let me know, share your comments, and also let me know if you want me to touch upon few important topics, or if you have any queries. I'd be very happy to, get back on this. So thanks once again, and I look forward to be connected with you. Thank you. Bye.